5 reasons why Gen X is the best generation. Grab a drink, grab a snack, and let's go back. Welcome back to another episode of Gen X Unfiltered, the podcast. Hello, Steve. Hello, Eric. You guys excited to be here today?
Always a pleasure.
Yes, Kelly, very excited to be here today.
I know that was weird. We're trying out some new intro stuff, okay, guys? Just go with the flow.
Yeah.
That's right.
What are we talking about today, Eric?
Today we're talking about us, like Gen X, and why we are the best generation of all times.
Are you there?
Are we self-proclaimed, or is it like fact?
Well, this is a little bit of self-proclamation. We're gonna, be
We'll be unbiased, obviously.
obviously unbiased. But I've scoured the internet and I found 5 reasons why we are possibly the best generation out there.
Can I just do a little caveat? Is that a fancy word to say?
Yeah.
Yep.
For those of you that are joining us for the first time, we are Gen X. We are young Gen Xers. Just so you guys know that we are young Gen Xers.
Yeah.
We're the tail end.
We
Right at the very end of it,
we
yeah.
kind of fall into that Zennial category.
Yeah.
So that's what, just as a disclaimer.
That's why we look so young and fresh.
Because a lot of people always wonder why, whatever. But we are Gen X. We just kind of fall in that Zennial category. But who nobody knows what Zennial is. So
No, we said that before. Zennial sounded weird on a podcast title or on a poster, so we stuck with the Gen X.
Yeah.
we are technically Gen X.
We are.
Exactly.
All
exactly.
right. After that little disclaimer, Eric, hit us.
All
with
right. So
number
here
one.
is number 1. And you guys got to tell me if you what you think, if you agree with this or not. But we are the bridge generation, which means Gen X has been described as the bridge generation, linking society's 2 favorite generations, baby boomers and millennials. But Gen X members are not just buffers or place fillers. We are the glue that holds it all together.
So we hold the boomers and millennials together.
Exactly. So, kind of a practical example. We understand analog and digital technology, so we can kind of float between generations in that regard.
I've heard those words, but I don't really understand what the difference
It's
is.
basically, we remember before computers, before...
Oh.
Phones on walls,
yeah.
landlines.
Yes. And that's why we're kind of in that interesting category, like Eric said, because we grew up as teenagers with the phone cords and all that. Like I remember getting the first cordless phone, yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
But then when we were old enough, when the smartphones and all that stuff came in, we could pick it up and we were in tune with it.
Yeah, exactly. And another example, I've kind of encountered this working with younger people now at the workplace, but I can read an analog clock and cursive.
Yes.
And there are people out there that, younger generations that don't know how to do either right now. So
which is hard to imagine, but it's true. Yeah, they don't get taught it. It's crazy.
I have a friend that's a primary school teacher, and she said that they stopped teaching cursive and how to tell time on like an old school, a regular clock with the hands,
Yeah. No, that's
I think that
crazy.
they're starting to bring that back again because like Eric said, I've had an example of somebody who's 18, 19 years old, and they're like, I don't know how to read this, or I don't know how to write my name in cursive. And I'm just like,
which is
what?
I remember hearing that people saying when it came to some kids getting passports and stuff like that, they couldn't sign their names for it. It's
that's so crazy to me.
It's hard to imagine.
Yeah.
But if you're not taught it,
True.
Why would you know it? But it's crazy.
My question is, so was that the number 1 point, or was there more to that?
That was the number 1 point, but I think it's kind of one of our superpowers, right? Because we can float between.
The floating between.
No, we can appreciate the fact that we're sitting in a basement right now.
Yeah.
With cell phones recording, cameras recording, we have a mixing board and all this stuff in our basement is insane.
Yeah. And 30 years ago, we were recording songs on the radio with our cassette player.
That's what I'm saying. This wouldn't even have been a possibility.
Yeah.
25 years ago. I wouldn't even thought of it. Been hey, let's record. And then we're putting it up on the internet, on YouTube, and all that.
Because we grew up with such a technological change, we understand how we got from, recording onto a tape to where we are right now, right? Digitally recording in a basement.
And we were old enough that when the change happened, we were right in that age where it's you embrace the change and you're excited.
We were old enough to embrace it and use it, but still young enough to not be... we kind of, it just came with us. I remember being I want to say 8 and doing Super Key, it was called. And
I remember Super Key.
On a computer at 8 years old. It was a weird computer program. It was learning how to type.
Yeah.
But so it was kind of that first initial thing. But even when I was a kid, people having Macs at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our first computer was a Tandy thing that my dad got from his friend.
Yeah.
When I was in grade 9, like our business class or whatever, we learned typing, like QWERTY, the keyboard
Yeah.
thing.
Oh, yeah,
That's-
It was
on
that's why they call-
typewriters.
But that's what a lot of people don't even realize why they call it a
Yeah.
keyboard.
Yeah.
It's to do with the way like
Yeah.
the letters are on the keyboard, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I learned in grade 9 on a typewriter. So
Yeah, I've heard Gen X being described as not afraid, like they know how to program a VCR,
Mm-hmm.
and also how to use like cell phones and modern technology, right? So
Yeah.
we, span
well, we're not
generational
afraid.
technologies.
We're not afraid. Like a lot of the boomers, like I
Oh my
can only
God.
speak for like my
Our
parents.
parents are boomers, right?
Yeah,
Oh
like
God,
I'm
painful.
I'm lucky though. Like my dad is pretty progressive. Like he knows a lot more than I'd expect for somebody in their 70s. Like
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
embraces it and he learns it and blah
He
blah.
grew up on the streets, so
But my
Street smart.
Yeah, street
my
smarts.
mom, like I remember my mom way back in the day, like she used to be afraid to use bank machines.
Oh, yeah.
She was
Yeah.
afraid, like all that basic stuff. Now she's a lot better, but the boomers, it was such a drastic change for them because they were all
yeah.
in their like 50s or 40s when this
Yeah.
stuff all came
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Imagine us learning something new
my
now.
my mom up until like recently, like very like I think maybe COVID, she was doing like checks for all of her bills still.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
does online banking now, but it was dragging her kicking and screaming into that like world.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, could you imagine us at our age now if like the internet didn't exist, then we had to learn it, or we had to learn our computers and our smartphones? Like I get why it was
Oh
overwhelming.
yeah, no, it was. And nowadays smartphones are a lot easier to use than
Well, yeah,
like the
but
apps and like they're everything's
but
kind of
still,
more
it's-
simplified, so it'd be a little different. But
it's so different,
but
and
it's
like
completely different. Yeah.
it's like I do feel bad for the Gen Zs. Sorry to crap on y'all out there, but if you're probably not listening to us if you're a Gen Z,
They've
but
turned us off a long time
But
ago.
those Gen Zs out there, like they don't know the world of like one TV in your house and a remote control, and
exactly,
no
yeah.
remote control and all that stuff.
No
And
remote control, like back.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like I love that we experience kind of all of it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
tons more to come, clearly, but like I just mean we experienced such a huge change.
Yeah,
and we
well,
adapted.
Yeah.
I think we can also like appreciate how like fantastically convenient cell phones are now, right? Like smartphones,
Well, of course, yeah.
because we understood like there was a time where you had like multiple devices that had to do all
Yeah.
the things.
Yeah,
Look-
yeah,
Smartphone
exactly.
does.
Look, any Gen Zs that are still out here listening, way back in our day, we had to, if we were like, hey, let's go to so and so's house, that's like an hour away, we don't know where we're going. We had to, the internet was around then, but before all the GPS, we had to go on to this thing called MapQuest,
MapQuest.
and we
Oh
had
my
to
God.
print out a map. And it looked like a little treasure hunt
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
all the symbols,
Yeah.
and get in your car and then hope to God that it was right. But
Yeah,
there
but-
was nowhere to tell you if there was a wrong turn.
No,
If
but
you
that,
missed
one,
the
that
turn.
was super easy though. Like that was even at that time was like cutting edge technology.
No, no.
Yeah.
It wasn't you had to pull up like a
Right.
a 5-foot map that was in your
Right.
glove
Yeah.
box and like try and trace
But
out.
let's be real, the Gen Zs won't even be able to comprehend that. I was trying to
but
speak to them.
But I'm just saying, speaking to other like Gen Xers
Yeah,
that are
yeah, yeah,
watching,
no, I
like
know.
that MapQuest was like a step of like super convenience for us. Like
Yeah.
it's like,
Well,
oh
of
my God, I
course.
can't believe now I can just print this up. I can just Google an address and print it up.
We went on a road trip as a kid and to Florida and Arizona, and the whole thing was my dad went to the good old CAA and got
Yeah.
a whole bunch of free road maps for each state, and
Yeah.
I was in the front seat of the car, like he would spend hours drawing out his little thing.
Yeah, you like
and-
highlight your route.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff,
Route. The C agent would do that for you sometimes.
Yeah. So I mean, but it's cool because like, look, so we've gone from that, we've gone to like printing off stuff from MapQuest to, GPS systems in your car to now just having your cell phone.
Yeah. Last thing on this point, though, something stuck out to me in that little blurb I read.
Mm-hmm.
They said society's two favorite generations, baby boomers and millennials. Do you think like?
No.
Do you feel like Gen X is the
We're the-
forgotten generation?
Oh yeah.
We're the middle child.
Yeah.
Which is
I
so-
totally feel like we're middle child syndrome.
But
Yeah.
it's so weird. I wonder why, because we've gone through the most change.
Yeah.
So I wonder why. It's because, okay,
Because we're not a bunch of crybabies.
I was
We
gonna
just
say-
went through
Yeah.
it. We didn't
Come
kick
at
and
me.
scream or
Yeah.
stuff like that. We
Come-
just did it.
come at me, millennials, you whiny little babies. Maybe not the older ones.
Oh
Look,
man.
Even TikTok makes fun of you, okay? I love you all, millennials out there, but you're a little bit more coddled than Gen X's are. Just like we're a little bit more
I think
coddled.
millennials are feeling under attack now by Gen Z.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Gen Z's tough.
Gen Z's taking over.
They are, well, because see, millennials were like ruled the world for a little bit there.
Yeah.
Well,
All
they
the
had
articles
their-
are about millennial this,
No,
millennial that.
It's Gen Z now, millennial.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're just, but they're still talking about us Gen Zs.
Yeah.
No, Gen
Well, because
X's.
Gen Z is looking at millennials the same way we looked at like the boomers
Yeah.
and
Of
stuff,
course,
right?
yeah.
It's like you're the ones that screwed all this up for us. You made all these like weird safe spaces, and you're the reason that everyone's
Yeah.
so coddled. And now we're all when we can't write our own names and stuff like
Gen,
that.
Gen Z's coming into their own. They're saying like side parts aren't cool anymore. It's middle parts, and like short socks are no good anymore. Yes.
I
That's
heard
like
that.
the thing.
Yeah.
And like short socks, and like as I'm sitting there wearing my short socks, I'm like, man, because like now it's the crew socks again. I'm like, I grew up with those. Speaking
Enjoy
of
those
which,
tan lines, kids. You'll never get rid of them.
But speaking-
You'll really, there's a reason those short socks are great in the
but
summer.
speaking of which, like I am way outside of my comfort zone right now filming this video, because although I was a younger Gen Xer, so I tended to have a bit more of the like millennial sort of fashion influence, I guess. Like I was a skinny jean girl. I
Well,
wore
I think
skinny
everybody
jeans.
was, yeah.
Yeah.
But now it's back to the like, styles that we had in high school. And I'm wearing a pair of loose fit jeans right now. And I'm telling you, I am not feeling confident in them. I'm like,
It's going to be great, but no, it's weird
Yeah.
though. Yeah, you go to the stores
Yeah.
now and like it's all like Nirvana
Ni-
shirts and
90s.
like
I know.
90s stuff is super
all
popular.
back now, yeah.
It's
They're all
it's all
wearing-
cyclical, all this
Yeah.
stuff.
they're wearing like the cargo pants are huge now.
Thank God, my cargo shorts. I don't feel like an idiot anymore this
Rest
summer.
of time. But I definitely don't. I think that we are forgotten. I think that people are scared of us because we're tough SOBs.
I think that ties totally into the second point, actually.
All right, go ahead,
Us
Eric.
Gen X being tough. The second reason that why Gen X rules is that we were latchkey kids.
Yes.
Yeah,
So part of what makes Generation the best is our sense of independence,
Yep.
because we had to be self-reliant, and we spent much of our childhood raising ourselves.
Look, I mean, that was sort of the era where a lot of moms had to start going back to work. I know my mom
That's
did
the-
when I was.
Yeah.
that's the biggest difference. I
Right?
think is the Boomer generation, one income
Yeah.
could afford a house and
Yeah.
everything.
mean-
our parents, no,
That's so
started-
insane to think about, though. Like way back in the day, like one income, you could have a nice house, a car,
And
go
go
on
on
vacations
vacation.
and stuff, and like
Yeah.
that's impossible now.
But like, okay, so
yeah.
Yeah.
think about it though. Like, I think in all of our situations, give or take, generally speaking, our moms were stay-at-home moms when we were little, and probably around like maybe like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-ish, our moms went back to work.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
it was kind of like, it was go to school. You just felt like you're fending for yourself. Like I was walking to school by myself when I was like way younger than kids are nowadays.
Oh yeah, I was 8 years old, 7 years old.
Did you guys have
like-
keys?
Yep. Yeah.
I had a key. A shoelace. I had a shoe. My key was attached to a shoelace and I wore it around my neck.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. We get home from school. I mean, I'm not gonna lie though, that was the best when you got home at like 3:30 and nobody.
Yeah,
you had like an
an
hour when
and a
nobody
half.
was
Yeah.
home.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
awesome.
So I
Yeah.
think fair to say we didn't have helicopter parents.
No, we
No.
didn't. Well,
I mean, they were. Some people did, but my
Yeah.
parents definitely were not.
well, it's like those whole memes or TikTok things that you see now, where these people our age are like, when we went to school, it was like our parents just sent us out the door with like, we whatever, just go to school, get out. It was our responsibility to take what we wanted. Now to go to school, it's like you need a water bottle. Like you're preparing for war. You need
Yeah.
a
Oh,
water
yeah.
Oh, I
bottle.
know.
You need all your schoolwork. You need this. It's like a 20-minute thing.
Do kids even walk home anymore? Like
No.
it's like line, like you go past the
Carpool.
school at 3:00 and it's like line of
oh, the amount
cars.
of cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was in school, like obviously some kids did get picked up at times, but it was all buses and
Yeah.
everybody walked.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
everybody
yeah.
walked.
You're a walking kid or a bus kid. That was it.
That was There would be like you said, there were some kids who would get picked up, but it was
Rare. I
Yeah.
don't remember hardly any kids getting picked up unless they were like getting
Right, circumstances.
some sort of
Yeah,
circumstance.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that that's why we are quote unquote the toughest generation, is because again it was that big shift where I shouldn't just say moms, but like both parents went back to work, had to work.
100%. Yeah, and that's exactly what it was. That
And there was no like daycare or I
No.
mean there was, but I mean it wasn't like it is now.
it was
No.
a lot different. It was like I remember when I was in like grade 3, maybe. I remember like going to someone's house up the street to be like
Yeah.
a babysitter for
Yeah.
like an hour or something like that.
Yeah.
When I was for a little bit, but then I'd go just be at home alone and.
Yeah.
But it was just totally different
It was
because
different.
like you said, that was sort of the generation where both parents had to work again.
Almost like feral kids, right? Like I don't know about you guys, but there's no play dates or just go outside and play with like the
Oh,
neighborhood
yeah.
kids.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you didn't come home till like the streetlights came on.
Oh my god, now they like actually like it's like literal setting up a date.
Like that was the one rule I remember. I don't know about you guys, but when the streetlights came on, that was the sign to come home.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
my family was that family that had dinner at like 4 p.m. We were weird.
Oh
family.
boy.
Oh, really?
So we would
Let's see
go
about
in,
that.
although that was when my mom would just yell out the window, dinner.
Oh,
And
yeah.
like, so we would go in and then we'd be done dinner and everybody else would be going in for dinner. But same thing. I mean, we also just I grew up in a neighborhood where 90% of my non-school friends, like we all lived on the same street.
That's a total
Yeah.
memory you just unlocked right there. Like moms just yelling
Yeah.
at the window for the kids to come home. That's
yeah.
how things got communicated. No cell phones, no texting.
No.
Just a yell at the window. Hey,
Yeah.
Eric,
Yeah.
get your butt back in here.
Oh, we
Dinner
used to play. I
time.
remember we played like war, and we would
Yeah.
just be like there were like 10
Yeah.
of us, and we'd just be all over the neighborhood, and like people's
Yeah.
front yards, backyards.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
just people's houses. We hop fences.
We
I
learned-
remember my one friend Terry. I don't know. When someone scared him, he jumped back and he put his ass right through their front front window at someone's storm door.
Oh my God.
And like, yeah, it was. But yeah,
Well,
we just run all over the place.
Yeah.
And that's why we just like we fell and scraped our knee. Well, we just dealt with it.
Yeah.
And my mom wasn't like, if it was obviously a really bad injury, but otherwise she's just like, okay, you got to scrape. Cool.
Oh, I remember. I
Bye.
remember a couple times taking. I remember. I still have a scar on my knee where I'm like, I probably should have got stitches, and I wiped out on my bike in the middle of a park, and I remember walking home like my knee just pouring blood,
Yeah.
pushing my bike because I was by myself, and it's just
Here's a tissue.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember the same thing. I did the same thing. I remember one day I was riding my bike again, and I remember trying to do like a jump off the curb, and I
Yeah.
ate it.
Oh no.
I remember I looked over and I scraped the shit out of my knees and my hands and I was bloody and I was look over and there's a lady, another friend's mother,
Yeah.
looking at me and she's turned around and goes inside and closes the door.
Yeah, I mean,
So I get old Steve picks up his bike and
Yeah.
does that walk of shame home, all covered in blood.
but
and
it
stuff
just
like that.
was what it was. I
Yeah.
mean, and like we just grew up that way and we kind of we had independence very young, whether
Yeah.
it was good or
Well,
bad, I don't know. But
I mean, it's the fastest way to learn.
Yeah.
Like, you want to teach a kid not to jump. We were talking the playground stuff, right? You want
Yeah.
to learn not to jump off the playground,
Yeah.
do it and hurt yourself.
Made us tough,
You're
made
not
us
going to do it
independent.
again.
Yeah.
Or you're going
And-
to try it again.
and
You're gonna-
again, it's not because our parents didn't love us. It's because it's just times changed and like it
Yeah.
was. I couldn't imagine like thinking about our parents back then. Like when you're a kid, you don't realize, but thinking back now, like how stressful that probably was for in our cases, our moms to all of a sudden have to go back to work and
Yeah.
be like,
yeah. And also
what are we doing now?
Because for them it was a whole new thing, right? Like our grandparents, like our moms, most of them didn't work, right?
No.
So
No.
for them to work full time was sort of a new idea.
And that was also the era too, like where women just a lot of them didn't go to post-secondary school.
Yeah.
A lot of men didn't either, but a
No.
lot of more women didn't. They
Yeah.
just sort of like got married, had
fell
kids.
into like a
Yeah.
So to try and find a job when you're in your 30s and 40s, when you may not have really worked anywhere significant, it's hard.
No, not easy
So
for sure.
yeah.
all the hardworking mums out there, give them a shout out.
Yeah.
No, and I mean now, it's just a whole other added pressure of like, now there's just really no choice where most times 90% of the time I'd say two parents have to
I
work.
don't know any one of my friends that
Yeah.
I don't know anyone that's living on a single income.
And you have
No,
to
no.
juggle like daycare and the expense of that and just and then
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a lot, right?
Yeah.
So
But
it's
anyways,
just
I
different.
think we all agree us being latchkey kids kind of gave us some toughness and independence.
I think so. I also think that we're like the sleeping generation. Like we're all cool and we're like fun and we're like nice and we're friendly, but don't mess with us.
Oh, I thought you said sleep in. Like I love to
Sleep-
sleep in.
The sleeping.
I do love to sleep. Sleeping is always on.
Sleep.
It's,
But I'm just
Sleeping.
saying, like, we're all like, we'll be your best friend. We'll like have some beers and hang out, but like you,
Kelly will cut you.
well,
Like
we
that.
will.
Like that.
We'll take
No
it-
warning.
Yeah, like just But I think that's part of the allure of us is that we're.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know how
So
to
so
explain
me
it.
and Steve, we agree we have independence and Kelly is violent. So
That's right. Kelly always chooses violence.
yeah, Kelly chooses violence.
But like we wouldn't be afraid to like whatever. But like again, sorry millennials, I just have to pick on you for a second.
Yeah.
They're just very
Although
not.
millennials will probably don't pick on us, picking on our Gen X parents who made us this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at some point you have to take personal responsibility. I can't blame everything in my
That's
life
not a thing
on my
anymore.
boomer.
No,
That's the problem. That's
No,
not a
no,
thing.
it's not a thing.
Well, I think the problem is that a lot, the millennials, the parents were Gen Xers
Yeah.
who were trying to make up for
boomer
some
parents.
of the boomer stuff,
Yeah.
the parents the stuff that
course.
we went through. is
Exactly.
Same thing.
So instead of not parents who weren't always present, now
they tried to
they're
be
super present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
uber over the top
Or-
helicoptering. And
Well,
Yeah.
like remember, like us again, I can only speak for myself and conversations I've had with you guys, but like we didn't get every single thing we wanted. There was some Christmases where it was there was job losses in my family, and there was some Christmases where we always had stuff, but it may not have been as much as the Christmas before, and it's
Yeah.
just what it was.
oh
like,
no, no,
you know,
definitely.
it's just what it was. But now, because you know, people of our generation grew up like that, it's almost like they're trying to make up for those like hard times in like the 80s
Oh,
and all
totally.
that
Like,
kind of
yeah,
stuff.
like people I know and
Yeah.
family and friends. Yeah, and sometimes like, oh, good lord, like this isn't like this is a stupid amount of stuff.
And
Yeah.
I mean, by no means was I a hard done by kid. Like I always had everything I needed and whatever. But
Never
like,
went
you
hungry,
know,
nothing like that.
no, but
Yeah.
I mean, you know, there was some Christmases that were leaner and there was a lot of stress. There was, I'm sure, I know, looking back, some months where, you know, how are we going to pay this bill? And,
Oh,
you
totally.
know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's just, you know, those times never really go away. But like, it's just, yeah, it's crazy.
All right. I think we closed off there. Who's ready for point number 3? I'm excited about this one.
Oh, no.
This one's gonna be good. Oh no! What are you nervous
I
about?
don't know, because you get excited about weird things.
This isn't Star Wars. Don't worry.
All right, fine.
All right. So this is Gen X music.
Ugh.
This is number.
Oh.
What? I got a groan from
You guys always have to go back to the music.
Gen X music rule. This was one of the reasons why our generation's
Okay.
the
That's
best.
a big
It did.
debate. Is
It did.
Yeah.
Go on.
Okay, so so Gen X music ruled. A couple examples: 80s rock, new wave, the birth of hip hop that happened during Gen
It
X,
did. Yeah, definitely.
grunge, Nirvana, Biggie and Tupac, the second British invasion, which was Duran Duran, Wham, The Cure, Depeche Mode, and then Britpop. Just some examples of why our music ruled.
No, there was a lot of, and I mean, now I'm like those people, like when I was a kid and my parents would be like listening to the 60s stuff and it's like, ugh, this is so gross. I would never listen to this. Now I'm the one that's like, I want to listen to like 90s or 80s stuff,
Yeah.
right? Because it was the best. The music today sucks.
Yeah.
It's all like,
It's a lot
weird.
different.
it's all
different.
like tech, it's all like computerized and like, can you really sing? You don't even have to sing to be an
Well,
artist
the auto-tune and
anymore.
all that stuff,
Auto-tune
yeah,
killed a
it's,
lot of genuine artists.
Which I think auto-tune could be fun, but like, you still, you can't just not be a singer and be
No.
Auto-tune is Cher's fault. She really brought that in. She did.
Well, I know, but like it just
So she's a boomer, so let's just blame her.
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean like our music was just it was like bands.
Yeah.
Now like
Yeah.
is there even any bands anymore? I mean obviously there
Well,
is,
there
but,
are.
There's a
like,
lot of
Just,
manufactured bands.
that's what I mean, but
Yeah.
like it was like bands, like people that like knew each other in high school or people that knew each other in college or
Yeah,
like, know,
yeah.
and it just kind of like they were good and it was just different music and you throw up I hate to go back to TikTok again, but like you see those videos where it's like you're a Gen Xer if you can like know all these
Yeah,
songs and
yeah.
I'm like, wow, I do remember those songs.
Yeah.
and they,
Well, just-
they spark a memory.
Yeah, how often do you hear songs from when we were young, on TikTok, remixed in the
No.
background of
Yeah.
a reel
Oh,
and
all the
stuff,
time,
right?
yeah,
That's to
yeah.
me our music it's good because it lives
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
People love the 80s.
I think like the
80s,
90s,
90s.
The 90s was like the peak.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Honestly, and what's the biggest difference? No internet.
Yeah.
All that stuff
Yeah.
that changed everything.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like, but
Good or bad, but
no,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's what changed everything.
No, I
The
think-
slow demise. You don't have like MTV and stuff. Much music up here in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were huge. Like having videos on there, that brought bands out, and
Yeah.
that's all gone now. Now you got to kind of go and find it yourself.
Music
Mm-hmm.
videos, I didn't even touch on that, but music videos were ushered in during our, for Gen X, right?
Oh yeah. it would-
I love watching old music videos now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
It's
great.
fun.
Like we
I
use
know.
much retro or even now with the Sting, whatever. There's a few channels that are
Yeah.
just retro videos. Yeah, it's great. But it's all that's. I don't know if they still. I'm sure some people still make music videos. They just pop up on YouTube and
Like,
you gotta just kind of find them if you're into it.
well,
Yeah.
I know MTV and stuff, but here in Canada, we had the baby version of MTV, which was like Much Music,
which is great.
a very baby version.
No, it was amazing. What are you talking about?
Well, no, it was good, but I'm just saying it wasn't like, a Carson Daly Times Square
We had Rick and
extravaganza.
Temp. We didn't need Carson Daly.
We had Bill Willich.
Bill Belichka.
Bill Wilichka, yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it was like our MTV, but I mean that channel, there was always something good on that channel. There'd
Oh, it
be
was
just
huge.
hours
Yeah.
of music videos and VJs and
Oh yeah, no,
shows.
it was awesome. It had all
Yeah.
sorts of stuff, and that's why I take offense with you shitting on it. It was fantastic.
wait,
it was what we
that-
had, and it was amazing.
But wait, that's a you problem because I wasn't saying anything negative about it. I was just giving a comparison to people who don't know what Much Music is. It's like Canada's the baby version, a baby or smaller thing of the United States. So it's a smaller version of
Ooh,
MTV.
now you better be careful.
You were
starting to-
downplaying
yeah,
much. You're downplaying much.
You're downplaying Canada now
Yeah.
too.
Uh-oh.
I'm talking about size.
Size
That
matters.
doesn't matter.
Oh my gosh, you guys are trying to give me hate. I am talking about the size of Canada. The population, it is very tiny in comparison.
Yes, it is.
That's true,
But
that's
still,
true.
I'm just saying, much of it was massive.
Of course it was
but That's
massive.
where we got our music from, right? And
Yeah.
and that's what helped. Up here, we had a CanCon, which is a little different, so it
Yeah.
kind of forced Canadian artists
which isn't
into
bad.
into Much Music and on the radio and stuff like that, which help keep, like bands like the Tragically Hip and all these guys.
Clearly, I hit a trigger for Steve.
Yes.
Him thinking I'm crapping on Much Music. I'm not.
The way you said it sounded you
Oy,
were
oy, oy.
being derogatory towards it, but
I just
either way, I'm just saying, yeah. But Much Music was like massive, and all that stuff is now
Yeah.
gone, and it's
Well,
sad.
Yeah, I think
it's
we can all agree it's a shadow of its former self.
Well, I mean,
it
because
doesn't
there's
even I mean, the
Yeah.
channel's still there.
It's
But
there,
is it
but-
actually still a channel?
Oh yeah, it's like MTV is still around, but it's
Oh.
not. It's not MTV.
They play
it's not
Simpsons
Much
reruns
Music.
mostly,
It's,
yeah.
Well, now
yeah.
MTV just
It's like Pimp Your Ride and reruns and stuff like that.
now MTV just does like Teen Mom and stuff, like reality shows.
No, like is it Much Music is still on the air, but it's not
Although
the Much Music that.
It's not music
We all
centric,
grew up-
really.
no.
Yeah.
no, it's different. But yeah, so
And I think that's a big thing, like with the music and the bands and stuff like that. It's like, like you look at the bands that came out like all that time, like you said, the birth of hip hop from like the late '70s all the way
Yeah.
through and stuff like that, and like the hair metal and stuff like that. Like, everything had like a style to it, and like, it's just crazy. But now it's, I don't know, it's just different.
Yeah.
It
yeah, I
sucks.
know nothing about today's music.
No, well, I think I
No.
said the problem is unless you listen to specific radio stations, where are you gonna find it? You have to go like on YouTube and like dig around for it and stuff
yeah.
like that. Like it's
Whereas
just still-
like when we were teenagers, it was just always in your face because we didn't have phones and computers to occupy our time. We just come home from school, grab a snack, and turn on the TV, and it was just Much Music. And
Oh yeah, I remember watching the remember there's like the Spotlight or no, what was the big
Spotlight was one of the
There was
shows.
Yeah.
Spotlight where they would just be like there'd be like one band that played a bunch
Yeah.
of videos, but there was like
Yeah.
they had like the 20 countdowns and all that stuff
oh, yeah,
too.
they have
and,
tons
like,
of stuff on there.
Speaker's Corner.
Yeah. I remember watching like Rap City like when I was like 9.
Nice.
Rhapsody.
After school.
Oh, what's his name? Master T.
Master
Master T was on,
T.
but someone else too. Remember Michael Williams was on there, I think, or I can't remember. There's a couple of different
Master
guys.
T was like the shiz. He was like so cool.
He was pretty badass.
He was. He always was like so like hyper and like he was just awesome.
Yeah.
Then they had like the alternative show. I think it was called The Wedge.
Wasn't that Bill
No,
Welichka? Who
No.
did that one?
Did he? No, I think it was Sookie Lee. Was that her name?
Oh.
She was
Sookie
on,
In?
yeah. Suki and Lee was
I think
there
she was the.
too.
I think she was the Wedge.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
Yeah.
There's a few other shows I don't remember all the names, but they remember they did like the intermittent interactives where they'd have like a band
Interview.
come in and like
Oh,
Play.
those are awesome. Yeah.
they did. I still see it like every time I see an interview with Nirvana.
Yeah.
It's Erica M
Yeah.
from Much Music interview and Kurt Cobain. Like,
They're on the waterfront somewhere.
yeah,
Yeah.
I keep seeing those clips all the time. It's like the show's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
We're getting. This isn't a music podcast.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
wow,
People are
Kelly's
here-
keeping us
Okay.
on task.
People are here wanting to hear our opinion on why we're the best.
Well, can you at least agree that our music was awesome?
No, I've said it was totally awesome just because we had such a wide range of music.
Would you
Like,
rather listen to the music from like the 80s and 90s and late
Yeah.
70s or like the 50s and 60s?
No, the 50s and 60s are too old.
Okay, there we go. So
I mean, they had some fun songs,
Yeah.
but they all sounded the same. There was no evolution.
I gave up on new music with like Mumford and Sons. I'm like, all right, I'm out.
Well, that was the whole like
Yeah.
millennial like storm when it was like all
Yeah.
hipsters and stuff.
Well, that was the whole like
It was beard
hipstery
culture
kind of like
and
this,
everything,
like, yeah, like
It
the,
was Mumford and Sons, and there was a couple other-
Lumineers.
Lumineers, like it was
Yeah.
all like hipster, and at the
Yeah.
time they were fun, but now I'm just like
They all
eh.
kind of just fell off. Well, now
Remember
Creed is like huge again. Which
That's
is
so
crazy,
weird.
All the 90s
Yeah.
These
But-
90s bands that were
Do you remember
Not
the,
cool for a long
yeah,
time.
like Nickelback.
Well, because
Yeah.
they're coming back on tour. But like, do you remember the millennial phase where it was all like the hipster millennials, and it was the guys who had the beards and the lumberjack?
Yeah.
look?
Yeah.
It was like a thing.
Exactly. Beard culture
Avocado
was a thing.
and toast.
I think avocado
Yeah.
toast is still a thing. I'm not sure.
It's actually really good. I'm not
Well,
gonna
that
lie.
was that's why the boomers said no one could afford homes.
Yeah.
Because they were buying avocados.
Too many
But
avocados.
avocados was
Avocado toast.
sorry. Avocados was very much a millennial
Oh, yeah.
thing,
yeah.
but it was just
Definitely
funny.
part of their culture.
I don't think hipsters are a thing anymore because I think now it's just Gen Z.
This
But
is true.
ironically,
Yeah, Gen Z just dresses like we did in high
that's
school.
the thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, Gen Z,
Yeah.
why do you think you're so special? You're basically just copying us. So what do they say? Imitation is the
Biggest form of flattery.
flattery.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're flattered that you're copying us because, I mean, let's be real. Like we were sloppy, and now you look sloppy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
no,
look
it's
sloppy.
going back to exactly what we wore in like
Exactly. Loose fitting
like
clothes.
high school and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. You see the band shirts of like Nirvana everywhere and stuff like
and
that.
and sweatpants. They wear like the sweatpants and like the Birkenstocks and like the
Yeah.
flannel shirts and then
Yeah.
the cargo pants. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's all cyclical. It's funny.
I
It's
know.
true.
But yeah,
Like
wait a
when we
minute.
were kids, people were wearing like bell bottoms were popular for a while, and like
Yeah.
like penny loafers, like from the 50s and all this
Yeah.
stuff. It's
yeah. But so you're just trying to be like us, but you're never gonna be us.
I feel relevant again.
That's right.
My clothes are back.
Right? If only I was the same size, I could just.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
Yeah,
I've got some clothes in my closet from back when I was a young guy, and they don't fit anymore.
Also, fun fact, just really quickly, is like, I know we used to make fun of Eric for it anyway, but so I'm just gonna bring it up. But the whole like, I think it was probably just a Canadian thing. We had this store called Randy River, and it was the like where it was just shirts, like kind of sweater material, but not as thick.
Yeah.
And it had like the 2 block colors with the stripe.
Always the stripe across the chest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are coming back.
They're back.
Yeah.
I might have kept some of
And
those.
then you need the like
then the mock turtleneck ones that were
the turtlenecks?
like not quite turtlenecks, but like
and
yeah.
then you get the necklaces. What are those? The like reef necklaces.
Oh, the
With
reef
Oh,
ones.
the
okay,
coral
yeah.
I never
or
had one of
whatever.
those.
No,
No,
but
but I
they're
remember-
cool.
yeah.
They sell them now.
Maybe it's finally time for me to get one.
We would just look so
Everyone
stupid.
who went to Florida would come back with one of those.
Do you know how stupid we'd look?
I look so cool. I'm sure it'd fit right in.
All right, Eric. What
What's
is
next?
point
Yeah.
number
All right,
4?
here we go. So we just did music. Our movies were pretty awesome too. So Gen X themed movies. I'll give you some examples. These are movies targeted towards the youth of Gen X. Kids, Chasing Amy, Clueless, Empire Records, Train Spotting, Mallrats, Boys in the Hood, The Breakfast Club, Reality Bites, and Clerks. All movies
You
targeted.
said Clerks twice.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Well, Clerks is so good, I said it twice.
It was a good movie. There was a lot of Kevin Smith on that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't know. What was your favorite like movie growing up?
I mean, I'm not a huge movie buff, but I did enjoy Clueless. I thought, like, As If, like,
Yeah.
that was so fun to watch. And, like, you know, all those movies are fun to watch. I mean, I don't have, like, a particular, like, ooh, I love this movie from the 90s, but the movies
Yeah.
were good.
Yeah,
I mean, I can
exactly.
say that.
And these
They
are
were
movies
good.
that were targeted towards like the youth of Gen X, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, Clueless was awesome. And, I mean, it was a young Paul Rudd. Who wouldn't love it?
He still looks the same as now.
I know.
He may be a vampire.
That's
Right?
the rumor.
Him
He
and
looks-
Susanna Hoffs, like,
Yeah, they
just
seem
don't
to
age.
look the same
Like,
as he did.
Paul,
Yeah.
Paul Rudd, if you're listening, hit me up. And look, if you don't shoot your shot, you're never
Yeah,
gonna
that's
know,
right, you never
right?
know, right?
Shoot your shot.
Yeah, exactly. What about
That's
you, Steve?
true.
Like, you were a big Kevin Smith fan. I
Oh
think,
yeah, all
right?
those movies. Yeah, it was. I always think it's funny because I remember seeing. I saw Chasing Amy in the theater.
Yeah.
And I remember my buddy and I went and saw it. We were like, "Do you want to see that or Austin Powers?" I think it might have been Girl,
Ew.
remember?
Yeah.
I don't remember. It might be. I don't know. Whatever Austin Powers movies at the same time, and so I went and saw Chasing Amy. And I've never seen the Austin Powers movie.
Good. It's
Yeah.
really stupid.
Yeah, no, I loved Kevin Smith movies. Like, but I remember Kids. I saw that. That was a dark movie. That was really
That
good.
was really
Yeah.
good, really
Yeah,
dark though.
but
Yeah.
I saw that a few times. And,
Well, also because I think the '90s, like it was, you could get away with more. I feel like nowadays it's a little bit more censored.
Kids was definitely pushing the
Kids
Yeah.
was
envelope.
pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I remember
but-
at the time it was pretty
like.
controversial.
Could
Yeah.
you imagine a movie like that now? Like I feel like no.
Yeah, I don't know if they'd make that movie. now.
Well,
I think
honestly,
I
I
just don't
don't-
think it would fly.
well,
Just people wouldn't watch it.
Honestly, I don't think kids do that stuff as much anymore.
Well, I mean,
like,
that's
it's a
true,
different,
too.
it was about
Different
like,
time.
it was
era.
about like skateboarding kids in New York City and stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
I
sure
mean-
there's still people that
Yeah,
do
like
that stuff.
you know,
but it was-
like the youth drug culture and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
yeah, like it seems like kids
Don't do drugs, kids.
No,
We do not
definitely
endorse
don't.
drugs.
But it
Yeah.
seems like the impression I get, you think of Gen Z, it's they're at home on their phone or even with their friends, they're all
Well,
sitting there
yeah.
looking at their phones.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not the same communal thing
No,
anymore.
no,
So
no,
even
no.
when they're
No.
in a group, they're still.
Well, I don't think Gen Z's like, I mean, I didn't because I was a nerd, but when I was in high school, like, I always heard about these elusive, like, bush parties people would have. They'd all just go gather in the forest and, like, drink beer and have campfires. They
Yeah.
don't do that
Yeah.
now. I was never invited, or I just didn't know where
if
to
they
go.
do, yeah, I mean,
Same
I
here.
don't know if it's still the same or not.
I
But
spent a
yeah.
lot of nights
But
at home.
there's no way they do that now. They all, like, yeah, it's just different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's one thing, like, again, speaking of, like, our parents, like, I mean, I was a good kid, so maybe that had some effect to it, but, I mean, my parents didn't have strict curfews for me.
Yeah.
Eric's
Same.
like, stop, you're getting off topic. But anyway.
You're off the rails.
I know, I just
no, I
wanted
was
to
going
say
to
that.
ask, have you guys ever watched Reality Bites? Because for me on this list, that's the one that's like, oh, that's really like Gen X when I look at that one.
I've seen it, but I don't remember much
No, it's
about
that
it.
one. But yeah, no, but that one's like because it's like the grunge.
It's
yeah,
grunge.
like
It's all about, like,
it's like the early '90s.
Is that Ethan
It's all
Hawke?
about. It's got Ethan Hawke,
Matt
Winona Ryder,
Dillon.
Matt Dillon, Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
And it's all about not selling out. Like stay true to yourself.
Yeah.
Kind of those
Yeah.
Gen X like slacker themes.
Maybe we should watch that
Maybe we should.
and do a podcast.
Yeah.
We could, yeah.
Ooh.
'Cause
Because
it was-
there's a love triangle in there between Winona Ryder, Ethan Hawke, and Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller's like the corporate guy
Yeah.
from like the fictional MTV.
Always pick
Oh,
Ethan
okay.
Hawke.
Oh,
Over
and
Ben Stiller.
Ethan Hawke was the slacker art guy.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like go where the money is, or go be true to yourself with
Yeah.
Winona Ryder's inner struggle.
No, you don't want the stuffy business guy.
No, and well, spoiler alert.
No, I don't. Don't tell me because I don't remember anything.
Sorry,
Oh my God, Eric, you're the worst.
I didn't spoil that for you.
This
I swear.
is like the time when I
the
found
movie's
out.
like 30 years old.
It doesn't matter,
it's
but
like
this
if you haven't
is
seen it or whatever, now it's kind of too late.
Yeah.
this is like the time when I found out Tony Stark died.
That's right. I
Yeah,
remember that.
sorry, Iron Man didn't make it.
And well, that's the
Anyway.
thing now too. Talking about good way to segue, but very nice segue back to movies. But that's
Yeah.
the movies nowadays. They're all goddamn superhero movies.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they are.
Everything's just
Superhero franchises.
that's all it seems that this shit comes out as. This
Yeah.
sort of remake of something we watched, like when we saw original when we were kids.
Or wait, superhero, or at one point in time, Star Wars movies
Well,
that
that-
weren't
yeah.
as good as the
Yeah.
originals.
No, but it's that, or it's like a remake of like Top Gun or something like some movie. Like,
Yeah.
What the one we watched recently was the Roadhouse.
Yeah,
I know,
again,
granted, it wasn't a remake, but
no, but inspired. But like, isn't that the whole thing? Is like the greatest form of flattery is imitation. So they're copying all this stuff
well,
and trying to.
the problem is now it's the movie industry's always been a business
Well, yeah,
up until the 2000s. They would take risks and make all these movies.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
that's how we have kids and chasing Amy
Yeah.
and Mallrats and all this stuff. Reality bites. Now it's like, what's guaranteed to make money?
Yep.
Hey, that movie was popular 20 years ago. Let's make it
Well,
again.
they
That thing's
started-
popular. Let's do, like it's all about we need to.
They-
we're
they-
not going
they
to lose
milk
a,
it.
Yeah,
Totally
we don't want
milk
to
it.
lose a penny. We can't afford to
And
because of the
And look what they
shareholders.
started doing, like with the last movie of like a series, like Twilight or Harry Potter. They did
Yeah.
that last movie, they split it up into two
Yeah.
just to milk it.
but
No,
also,
exactly, because they spend so much money, they don't want to. They can't afford to.
Yeah.
but also, and I could be wrong in this. This is just sort of my initial observation, is that I also just feel like, again, like it goes along with what you said, they're just making movies that they know are going to make a lot of money, so it's like easy, okay, cash to check, whatever. But like I feel like, granted, I don't pay attention as much anymore, but I just even feel like there's not as many movies now that come out than like when we were teenagers. Like, oh my God, when we were teenagers, like every Friday, like every week there was like a new movie to go see.
I remember
yeah.
like
And it's-
summer movies were a big thing
And
when we
it's
were
just not a
kids.
thing now.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I don't pay attention, but I feel like it's not.
I think movies in like the theaters are struggling
With
now.
that,
Yeah.
I think the movies are coming out, but they're all going straight to like Prime or Netflix or
Yeah.
Yeah.
whatever streaming platform. It's
Yeah.
I just had a whole like memory of like being a teenager in the summer and like every Friday night going to a
I remember
movie.
going to movies all the time. Like
Oh, yeah.
from 9, 10 years old up until like
Yeah,
in high
like
school and
every
stuff like that, going to
weekend.
movies. Like seeing all sorts of stuff. Because again,
And there used
that's the
to
only way
be-
you could see something was in a theater.
But that's the thing too, and like I remember at least when I was growing up, like there would be lineups.
Oh God! I
Like
remember-
there was so many people to go see the movies, and like it would be all your friends from school. It was just so fun.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you'd run into people and stuff.
You get
or
dropped off by
or
your
you know
parents.
people were going, so you go
Yeah.
as like a group and stuff like that.
It
yeah.
was so fun. I remember everybody's parents dropping them off, and like before like we could drive and stuff. But it was just like a fun event, like Friday or Saturday nights going to the movies.
Was it like mid 90s when they started making those massive like cineplexes
I think so.
Yeah.
with like arcades and everything inside? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
All my memories that I just spoke of was a tiny little movie theater that had like 4 theaters in it.
yeah.
No,
yeah.
it was not like the multiplexes they have
Yeah.
now, like the AMCs and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my
that was
gosh.
in like
I
yeah,
miss
that was like the
that.
late '90s because I had a job in high school for a summer where I was cutting grass, and it was for this guy who was a real estate owner in the city,
Yeah.
and he owned a bunch of plazas, and I was cutting the grass. It was an empty lot at the time, but it was turning into the
movie
big
theater.
movie theater. It was being built, so I was there just cutting the weeds
Oh my
down so it
gosh.
didn't look like a pile of garbage when they
But
built
I
it.
miss that little movie theater. I know that you guys probably. Well, I don't know.
There's a
but-
couple little independent theaters out there still.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's just not the same. Like I
No.
said, it was an event. Like I know Steve knows what I'm talking about because we grew up in the same area. But like, you know exactly the one I'm talking about. But it was like
Yeah.
on a Friday night, it would be like a lineup. You pull up with your parents and it'd just be like half your school was there.
Oh yeah. I remember people climbing the walls outside.
Yeah,
and waiting to
have
get lines.
the
They had like these bricks that
jutted
stuck out. I
thing.
remember
Yeah.
I think we were going to see Batman, the original Batman,
Yeah.
and some kid was climbing the wall and like fell down, like slid down and cut himself all up. I was like, oh man.
And everybody that worked in the theater was out, like, teenagers
No,
as
they're all,
well.
like,
So you went to
teenagers
the
and
same
all
that,
school
yeah.
as that.
Yeah.
It was just so fun. It's just not the same.
No, and that's where it sucks for kids nowadays because it's like
Well, they have their own, like, they don't know any different.
no,
right?
they don't. But yeah, you don't know what they don't know what they're missing, but it's like
But
it's
it
too
was
bad. Like I
fun.
said,
Yeah.
it's not the same watching. Hey, there's a new movie,
And then
it's on Netflix.
when
like,
your
They're
parents
missing that connection.
when your
Yeah.
parents would drop you off and then you'd like, meet up with your friends and then you'd have that secret cigarette that they didn't know. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't know. I was trying to be all badass.
Kelly and her secret cigarette story.
I'm just kidding because I remember there was always that like, group of kids that was sort of like the
Yeah.
bad kid or the badass group of kids.
Yeah.
And they'd be at the movie theater not because they wanted to see the movie, they just wanted to like hang out, but they'd always
well,
be
that's
in
was
the
a place to hang out.
they'd
too.
always be in the back parking lot smoking their cigarettes. It was
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a weird.
Anyways.
I miss movies now.
I
Yeah,
know.
I know. Go through this list, make me all nostalgic.
I
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
Misty eyed.
So that was 1 through 4. Are you ready for 5?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, this is maybe a little controversial, but we had the best SNL cast, and I'm thinking Sandler, Farley, Hartman, Spade, and Norm Macdonald.
Before you guys even discuss this, because I'm not going to be a major part of this discussion, can I
Yeah.
just say my controversial thought?
Yes.
SNL is lame.
Oh, like all seasons?
Okay, no, I mean it has moments, it has funny moments, but those
It's
people.
been on for so long. It's gonna have seasons
Well,
of good and bad.
But I
Yeah.
mean, those people you just listed, I just can't stand many of them.
Even back when they were young, like up and coming
No, I just can't
comedians.
stand- I didn't
Adam
watch it
Sandler
then.
now, like he's not what he used to be, but way back in the day, he was hilarious.
I didn't watch
Yeah.
it then, like other than now in reruns, like I never watched it back then.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them just kind of are annoying.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I
I'm just
don't
not
know
a big
if Kelly's
comedic.
probably the right person to speak.
Maybe,
to.
No, I'm
maybe.
not. That's what
yeah,
I'm
Because
saying.
if I'm like, what do you think of the first cast, like Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd?
No,
you're
I
gonna
mean-
be like, I don't know.
Well, that's why I said like this is a
Yeah.
conversation for you guys mostly. That's just my thought.
Yeah.
Is I just don't really have
Yeah. Because
invested.
I
in it.
guess my point is a lot of people like the very first cast. They think that's the best.
Well, I can say now, like we actually all just recently watched it like a couple of weeks ago, and
Yeah.
it was effing terrible. Even you guys said it was terrible.
It was bad. It wasn't
Like
good.
I'm like,
Yeah.
this is bad.
I know. I saw a clip with Maya Rudolph. I think she guest hosted last week. It's just hilarious. Nothing against her.
Yeah.
But they like it
The
was,
skits are
The skit
lame.
was like it was all fart jokes. I'm like, this is comedy now. Like
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
it's literally her just like she's an actress doing a commercial, and she couldn't get through the commercial because she kept farting.
So
I'm like, this is the joke.
well, I can.
That's the joke.
But then they saw that one they did, the Beavis and Butthead. That looked pretty funny.
That was pretty good.
I never
actually.
saw
With,
that
Ryan
one.
Gosling and was it Mikey Day dressed
Yeah.
as Beavis and Butthead?
But
and-
like, so really
So
quickly
it's-
before you guys talk about, it, I'll just say like I can appreciate the fact that like back then I feel like the comedy was a lot better.
Yeah.
Now I think it's just kind of selling out, and they just don't have the same kind of like talent that they did, and the
Well, I think comedy had to get safer too.
well, yeah,
That's, I
it totally
think.
did, which is
Yeah.
like really okay. No, it's like I just think it's sold out. I feel like it's run its course. Like let's just like I don't know, is it going to be on forever just because?
Probably it's like an institution now.
yeah.
But it's just I don't know. I just feel bad.
Well, I think it's like anything. It's cyclical, and like look at the '80s. I mean, you want to, like for when it was great. There was a lot of
was some
crap.
bad
There was
time in the
pretty
80s.
bad- even the
Yeah.
'90s.
Yeah.
I mean, again, we look back with like rose-colored glasses, but
Like-
like it was good.
I remember
Yeah.
the armpit sniffers.
Yeah,
What
that was
the-
like she's talking about Sister Mary Catherine Gallagher,
And the
Mary Catherine
cheerleader and the
Gallagher.
Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell
So
was
that was
funny
like the
on it.
2000s. That point.
Oh, see,
that was like late 90s, 2000s.
That's
Yeah.
probably what I remember the most, and that was the whole like headbot people. They bugged me.
Oh, Chris Kattan,
Chris Kattan and stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah, like I
and,
like they
Will
were
Ferrell
okay,
and-
but the ones you're talking about, like the old ones, like I never watched those. So I don't.
Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd seasons.
No, I
Yeah.
mean, I was too young for that, but I
Yeah.
remember seeing it like
But you guys
on
watched
TV
like
or something. But I watched it.
Adam Sandler and stuff.
Oh yeah, I remember when I was a kid. I remember getting my dad to he would record it every Saturday, so I'd watch it on like Sunday mornings and watch it. So I remember, I watched it throughout like the Mike Myers, Phil Hartman, all that kind
I
of.
didn't even
season.
mention it. Mike Myers, yeah.
Yeah, I was
Phil
going to say
Hartman.
Mike Myers. He was probably one of the for a while. He was probably one of the
Dana
most
Carvey,
successful ones.
yeah.
Dana Carvey.
Oh, is that where Wayne's World started?
Yes.
Yeah, Wayne's
Okay,
World,
okay,
yeah.
fair
It was an
enough.
SNL skit.
All right. So
Probably
but-
the best SNL movie of all time is Wayne's
Yeah,
World.
let's not
I
talk
would
about
think
the head
so,
bopper
yeah.
movie. That was just
That was
Yeah.
hilarious.
Then
Really?
the
It was
Roxbury.
terrible, but it was
so bad it was good.
Well, that's the thing. Some of their movies are absolute garbage, but they're funny.
Oh, yeah.
The worst, I mean, I think probably it's Pat might have been.
I think that's the
don't even
consensus
think I
worst
saw
movie.
It, but
It's Pat.
yeah.
Oh, we got to talk about. I know this isn't old, but like Dick in the Box. That was funny.
Yeah.
That was good. That's like later on though.
Yeah, no, I
that's
know.
like the
That's like 2000s.
Yeah,
They had
Yeah.
like
Andy
little like
Samberg and stuff like that.
spurts of things, but now honestly, maybe in all fairness, I just don't watch it enough.
Well,
but
that's-
Yeah.
but even you guys said, "What is this?"
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it was it Dua Lipa was the host
She was the host
Yeah,
and
but-
musical
the
act.
singer,
Yeah.
so I mean,
It doesn't matter. Just the skits sucked.
Well,
Remember that one that was like
but
10 minutes? It was one of those pre-made ones. And I'm like,
Yeah.
we're like, what is this?
I don't
It's
know.
like 10 minutes long.
well, yeah, no, I mean it's like it's hit and miss. It's like anything,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you do it every week. It's you
Yeah.
know, there's good, there's bad, but no,
Yeah.
the '90s ones. I mean, go through the list of all the stars and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
we've gone on to like all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Norm
wonder,
Macdonald's always kind of a polarizing one. R.I.P.
here's a,
Yeah.
here's
the
a,
Canadian boy, but
here's
He
a,
was hilarious on Weekend Update.
no, he was great. I loved
Yeah.
him, but I know he had that really dry kind of.
Yeah.
no, I like
My
him.
favorite
Peter.
Norm Macdonald was his Burt Reynolds impression on Celebrity Jeopardy.
Yeah,
that
well,
was,
this
that was
whole
the best.
Celebrity Jeopardy
Yeah.
with Will Ferrell as Alex Trebek and stuff like that.
That
Like
was
it was
hilarious.
just a good skit. Yeah,
Yeah.
Turd
Well,
Ferguson.
Can I just
Ferguson.
ask a quick question? Do you think that it's like just our age group or even like say millennials or whatever that are still watching it? Like I don't think the Gen Zs are watching it.
I don't know.
They might be. I mean, that's
Maybe.
the reason they have like Dua Lipa. Or, you know, it's
Yeah.
like,
True.
so
True.
but I think it's the same thing. You talk to someone like an older Gen Xer is going to say the '70s was the
Well,
best
I mean,
one,
of
right? Like,
course,
Yeah.
yeah.
so it's I think a lot of it too is your perception of whatever. Because there's been a ton of, like I said, been a lot of people that come out there and a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
There's also been a ton of shit that's come out of there.
Well,
All right,
yeah.
so I knew point five was going to be like a hot topic because I don't even think we can agree on whether it was the best one or not.
No, I mean
Tough.
compared
I mean,
to
it's-
now,
it was
Yeah.
good. I loved it, but.
Yeah.
I also I kind of forgot, but like Will Ferrell's season was really,
Yeah.
when Will Ferrell
Yeah.
was there and those guys too was really good.
That's true.
But again,
You
I
know,
think
so
one of
it's,
the biggest wait, like it's hard to say because like you said, over time the comedy's just had to change. It's had to get a bit cleaner. It's had to be it had to be a little softened. So maybe that has effect on it. I don't know. I mean, but I think it's also personal preference. Like I like Will Ferrell. I think he's funny. Some people probably hate him. I am not a fan of Maya Rudolph. I find her kind of annoying. I know you said you think she's really funny.
Oh, she's talented, yeah.
So, well, no knock on her talent. I
You
just
just knock
don't.
your talent.
Oh yeah, you guys are always trying to paint me. You guys want me to get hate mail, don't you?
No.
We're the ones saying Maya Rudolph's no good, but
No, I said I am not a fan of hers. That's all. I'm just like
That's fair. Okay, fair.
just like some people aren't a fan of Will Ferrell, or
Yeah.
it's all personal
well,
preference.
no, and
like,
that's the thing. I mean, it's all personal preference because you could
Yeah.
say, hey, I think the cowbell skit is the greatest
okay,
skit
but
that's
wait,
ever come out of.
wait. Let's just pull it back then really quickly. Ensemble wise, I think that's a big aspect of the show because one person being funny, but I think it's if the ensemble cast work well together.
No, exactly.
So,
Yeah.
you have to kind of pick like what ensemble cast-ish. Like the Justin Timberlake skit was funny, but overall, was that the best seasons? But like, you know what I mean?
well,
like,
it's hard to say because then it's a lot different than too because you had like the Lonely Island guys where they started getting more into like these digital shorts,
Yeah.
which they kind of do a lot more of now
Yeah.
too. There's
Yeah.
the three guys that do it now. I don't even know what they call
or
themselves.
was it
but-
the Mike Myers, Dana Cart, like that ensemble cast that worked well together?
I think
you know?
I think that ensemble really did work well together.
Yeah.
And with
Yeah.
your example, I think like in the early '80s, Eddie Murphy was the star of the early '80s,
Mm-hmm.
and the ensemble didn't really work great. I don't think together. It was just the Eddie Murphy show more or less.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had a few,
He was like the star, and like that was it. It was Joe Piscopo.
yeah, like you had.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem. See, when you get like sort of one real breakout, it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
it can either help or hurt
So
depending on the.
I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of factors that have to go, and I think it just comes out of the fact if it's like the years that you religiously watched it, probably in your teenage
Well,
early 20s, you're gonna
Alright.
say that's the best.
So maybe I'm just looking at this through my nostalgia goggles, and I'm like, my SNL was the best.
Well, no, but I think that that's just a natural thing because that's
Yeah.
probably what you watched it the most, right?
I did, yeah.
So it's sort of just like there's a reason.
Before I started working, and that got in the way of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, so I think that it's ebbs and flows. To me personally, like I just watched it a couple weeks ago and I was like, I would be okay to never watch this again.
Yeah.
Just wasn't.
Well, I'd be curious too, like, because like the '80s or the late '90s, early '90s, like how many movies came out of there too? Like in terms,
Mm-hmm.
I would think the '90s might be the most
Probably.
commercially successful too, outside of the show.
Yeah, Wayne's World, Coneheads.
Oh God,
Ew.
Coneheads, yeah. But yeah,
Fair.
like but that's the thing. Then you look, you had like the Blues Brothers and stuff like that in the '70s. Like those were huge movies too. So
Yeah.
it's
Well, I mean, like
We
again,
can't forget
it's-
Blues Brothers 2000.
that's right. Yeah.
I think we can all agree though
Yeah.
that it was better back then than it is now,
Yes.
from our opinion.
I would
I-
say yes.
Having not watched it a lot, I'll say yes.
But there's a reason why you're not watching it because nothing like you have watched it, but there's a reason why you're not like religiously like, oh, I'm gonna watch SNL because there's nothing that's really pulling you.
I guess maybe.
I don't know. Just,
No, yeah, but I'm just saying it's hard to judge. It's one of those. It's
well,
a
of course,
total.
it's all just your own
Yeah, it's all
opinion.
just your personal preference as to what you find
We
funny.
will never solve this debate.
No, I think this one really triggered us. 0.5. I'm sorry I brought it up.
But I'm just going to say, overall, I do have this, all those things you have mentioned.
For someone who doesn't like SNL, you sure talk a lot about it.
I'm never doing a podcast again. All you guys have done, Steve has done today, is shit on me for what my words that are coming out of my mouth. So I am no longer talking. All right. I think it's safe to say that it's all personal preference on SNL, at least that category. But
I think so.
overall, I think we are biased because we grew up in that era. So all those things that you mentioned, I would have to say that we rule the school, and anybody that's doesn't, well, they're all trying to copy us anyways. Clearly we rule.
Well, it's hard for us too. It's like, what is our SNL?
Uh-oh, good question.
But I was
Because
just speaking
we-
in
No,
like,
but I'm just
everything.
saying, like, because we obviously the '90s SNL wasn't really for us, really.
Yeah.
You know, at 12, 13 years
No,
old.
but you guys watched it clearly.
No, obviously we did, but SNL is not a kids show.
No.
So it was like the Will Ferrell era where we were like in our 20s.
I think it's whenever
That's
you...
where
Maybe.
SNL's geared towards that
Yeah.
but I
age group.
don't think that matters. I think it's just when you watched it. If you watched it when you were 10.
but I'm just saying, just saying that there's sort of,
We weren't in
we
that-
covered those two.
Yeah.
we weren't in that 18 to 35 category until, the 2000s.
I don't
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
talk about SNL anymore. I feel like getting spicy. And
I
I,
know.
don't want to be
that
spicy.
one. That one was. I thought it was gonna be like the shortest point of
like,
all five.
It's friggin' SNL. Who
but we
cares?
went deep into SNL.
Steve's very
What about
passionate.
SCTV?
No, I don't want to talk about that.
Well,
That
Next.
was awesome. It's a whole podcast on that.
That's all-
Nah,
yeah.
Nobody's
Yeah.
going to know what we're talking about.
Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
In the States, they're not going to know what we're talking about.
Yeah. If anyone's a comedy fan, they will.
I've literally never watched it.
Okay.
You can fill a bucket with the things you haven't watched.
Okay, Eric,
All
we
right.
need to change the subject.
Before we get too spicy here, and lose this podcast altogether, there's 10 defining moments that Watch Mojo has listed to define Generation X. So I'm going to go over this list and just, quick, yes or no, do you remember these events? Okay. The death of Kurt Cobain was number 10.
Yes.
Yep.
Black Monday.
Is that like Cyber Monday?
No, not at all.
Okay. Quickly, what's Black Monday?
But it was a stock market crash in like 87, I think.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
All right.
Jonestown.
Was that the,
I know of it, but that was definitely I was too
was
little.
that the
to,
like CULT thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're allowed to say that word.
Oh. The Oklahoma City tragedy in 95.
Yes.
Definitely remember that. Yeah.
Yes.
Operation Desert Storm.
Yes. I can tell you where I was.
Yeah, that was crazy.
The rise of the personal computer.
Like, what does that mean?
It means
Just having home computers.
Oh,
home
why did you have to
computers.
say it so fancy like that?
I'm quoting Watch Mojo. I'm quoting Watch Mojo right
Okay,
now.
well, yeah, I remember computers.
I do, but that's kind of a weird point because it's not like an actual event. It's like
Yeah.
Sort of a generational thing, right?
yeah, but I 100% definitely
Yeah,
remember.
yeah.
I remember my first computer and
Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
gradual
computers
thing.
becoming a thing. Yeah.
Okay, I think we all know this one. The Challenger disaster.
Yes.
definitely remember
I
that.
remember
Yeah.
exactly
I was
where it was
little,
that
but-
day.
Yeah.
I remember that.
The AIDS crisis.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
remember
that
hearing
was,
about it.
I remember a lot of commercials came about like,
And there was like,
Oh yeah. it was-
PSAs about it and stuff.
and there was lots of like fundraising and stuff like
fundraising.
Oh
that.
yeah, the
Yeah.
red ribbon and all this stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was a huge thing.
the LA riots is number 2.
Yes.
Yes, that was crazy.
Yep.
Yep.
And then number 1 is the fall of the Berlin Wall.
Yeah, remember that?
I mean, I
Big
remember
for David
that.
Hasselhoff.
That's right.
And lots of other,
Oh yeah,
Germans,
yeah. No, I was
Yeah.
definitely not old enough to appreciate what
No,
was happening.
but I knew
that,
it happened.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
knew it happened, but I
remember
didn't
like
know.
them bringing around a piece of the wall. I remember coming to our school.
Oh wow.
But not when it happened. Not being old enough to really appreciate what was
Yeah.
happening. Other than
Symbolized.
like obviously not understanding the.
I just
West
knew
Berlin, East
it
Berlin,
happened.
You
Yeah.
know, yeah.
Okay, but that is the top 10 events that define Gen X according to Watch Mojo.
All right. Well,
Yeah, it's,
I think that sparked some good debate that we probably didn't expect.
Yeah.
Who the hell thought that an SNL point would
Look.
spark such anger?
Look, Steve, we're shooting this after work, and Steve hasn't eaten, so he's getting a little
hungry.
hangry. And when he gets hangry, he clearly gets spicy. And Eric, you're just lucky it wasn't at you today. Does
Well,
that mean-
you're the buffer between us, so thank Christ.
But comment below, guys. Let us know what you thought of those points. We're probably going to do more episodes like this because there's so much more we can talk about.
Oh, there's so
Oh,
many.
yeah.
Yeah, those are just five
Yeah.
points, but there's probably
But
Yeah.
comment below and let us know what you think of those points or, all that jizzy jazz. Do your thing.
jizz.
Oh, no.
jazz.
It's time to wrap this up. But we thank you guys so much for listening and watching. We really appreciate you. But until next time, guys.
Look to the stars.
I screwed up that ending. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.